The press circulated photos which suggested to many that Sharon was in a satanic cult, but they were just publicity shots from Eye of the Devil. Those who knew of Roman's infidelities suggested that he had ordered the murder. People who had done drugs with Frykowski and Folger told tales of wild orgies and drug binges that supposedly included the pregnant Sharon.
And facts which will be coming out day after day will make us shame a lot of newsmen who, for a selfish reason, write unbearable for me horrible things about my wife. All of you know how beautiful she was. And very often I read and heard statements that she was one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful woman of the world. But only few of you know how good she was.
We got back to America, and then he became obsessed with who did it. First it was John Phillips, and then it was somebody else, and then it was somebody else.
I was also looking for any trace of blood in cars of people that I knew. I had chemicals, that I could smear and check whether there were any traces of blood on the pedals or steering wheel or seats or whatever. So I spent my night sometimes in the garages of my friends, just going through those cars, and of course I didn't find anything. But I did think that it must have been someone who knew us.
The Los Angeles Police Department has assigned 17 sergeants and 2 lieutenants to investigate both of the brutal murders. As it stands today, they have 2 crimes that are similar. They have 7 people who are dead, and they have no solid suspects. Dick Shoemaker, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In December of 1969, 4 months after the brutal murder of actress Sharon Tate, police charged Charles Manson and members of his hippie cult with the 7 Tate LaBianca murders. On the witness stand, Manson's followers explained his deranged plan to start a race war. He had ordered them to write messages in the victims' blood, messages he hoped would be mistaken by police for Black Power slogans. It also emerged that Manson had known the previous occupants of 10050 Cielo Drive, musician Terry Melcher and his girlfriend, actress Candice Bergen. He directed his followers there simply because he knew the house. One of the murderers testified that when she asked Manson who lived there, he had replied, quote, "Some movie stars." Sharon Tate had been murdered completely at random.
It's something that, even though I wasn't even there, that every so often just tears through the fabric of wherever I am. And I think of what Sharon went through and all.
During the trial, all the gruesome details of Sharon's death emerged. She had begged for the life of her unborn child. She had asked the murderers to take her prisoner and let her give birth before killing her.
I always felt, and all of us that loved her felt, that Jesus, this lovely girl in those moments of violence, how must she have, and she was so hopeful for her child, how horrifying it must have been.
The coroner's report on victim number 698796 reported that Sharon had been stabbed 16 times. Despite rumors to the contrary, her fetus was not removed, nor was Sharon stabbed in the abdomen. By the end of 1971, all 5 defendants were sentenced to death, but less than a year later, California abolished capital punishment. Though it has since been reinstated, it cannot be applied retroactively. All 5 defendants are currently serving life sentences.
Mother pretty much broke down for about 10 years, and I say that my mother wasn't there. She was there physically, but she wasn't with life. She really was so consumed by grief that she was only a shell of herself.
In 1982, defendant Leslie Van Houten gathered 900 signatures in support of her parole. but was not released.
Well, I got home, I picked up the phone right after I got in the door, and I called Doris and I said, we have a problem. I told her about the 900 signatures, and I said, Doris, I think we can do better than that. And her answer to me is, you bet we can, honey.
All 5 defendants come up for parole every few years, and Doris Tate dedicated her life to keeping her daughter's killers in prison.
Boy, I'll tell you, she got her engines revved up. We ended up with a nationwide petition drive and got 352,000 signatures from people all over the United States.
Through that, Mother found a new purpose in life. I believe that bad things happen to almost everybody at one time or another, and the test is what we can do to turn that bad thing around and make it into something good.
Doris Tate founded a support group called Parents of Murdered Children and used her celebrity to counsel fellow survivors. She helped get a law passed that allowed family members to appear at the parole hearings of convicted murderers, and she would never miss a hearing for her own daughter's murderers.
What mercy, sir, did you show my daughter when she was begging for her life? What about her family? And what about the family that she was going to have, sir? Are these 7 victims and possibly more going to walk out of their graves when you get paroled?
Shortly before her death from brain cancer in 1992, Doris Tate was named by President George Bush as one of his 1,000 points of light.
Patty carried that torch for 4 years before she got sick. And while she was sick, before she died, I picked it up, and this is going to be the way it is. And in the case I go, one of our children will pick it up. These people were sentenced to death, and we just can't let them out. That would not be justice served.
Sharon Tate was killed at random, in the wrong house at the wrong time. But if Charles Manson and his followers had wanted to shake up Hollywood and America, they could not have picked a more effective target. The murder of so beloved and innocent a girl still inspires a bizarre fascination because of its sheer brutality and senselessness.
Her memory seems to attract a lot of people that are off. I have discovered that there's a group of people, a large number of people, that would like to refer to themselves as fans, but in reality, all they are is oogling over the negativity of the case, and that absolutely makes me sick. I cannot stand the thought of people oogling her death photos.
13 years after Sharon's death, Roman Polanski made the film Tess. It bears the dedication for Sharon. In the late 1990s, Polanski married again and fathered 2 children.
I particularly like this one in the distance here where she's laying down with her hand just sheltering it from the sun. It's so casual, so beautiful, so timeless. And really that's, I think, the Sharon that will live on, not the nutty stuff. You know, I'm an idealist, so I like to think that we can look at them and see the beauty and the innocence and the sort of wistfulness. But in reality, when you look at them, it's clear for many people the first thing they think is, oh my God, that's the woman that was killed so horribly.